time now for everybody's favorite guessing game, What's My Line? Brought to you by Remington Rand, makers of the world's #1 electric shaver, the Remington. Now, let's all play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And we have a special treat in store for us tonight. On my left, sitting in for Steve Allen, is a bright, humorous young man who stars in his own CBS television show starting next Saturday night, Jack Parr.
Thank you, Dorothy, and you never mention me in the column. And on my left is this lovely cover girl on TV Guide who has 3 shows on 3 networks, all sponsored. Arlene Francis.
Thank you, sir. That's our sunny disposition publisher, who also writes columns for This Week and the Saturday Review of Literature, Mr. Bennett, sir.
Well, now you've met Jack Parr and our glamorous and incomparable leading ladies. So I'd like you to meet, in addition, on my left, our glamorous and incomparable misleading man, Mr. John Charles Taylor.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. It's Sunday night, and it's time we gave the panel a run for it. And we have some very nice people here to do it with. And they've got some very interesting occupations, and I've picked up an English accent, as you'll learn soon where the sauce is. And we'll give the panel a bit of a rough run for it, I think. We'll also have a famous guest challenger a bit later. But it's time for the panel experts now to meet one of... Oh, would you sign in, please, man? Mary Jane Hagen. Is that right?
Speak. Somebody speak.
Oh, is it my turn? I'm sorry. Is it Miss or Mrs.? Mrs.? Oh, it's Mrs. Hagen. Then, Mrs. Hagen. Where are you from, Mrs. Hagen?
Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Oh, that's wonderful country. I know it rather well. Nice you should have come this long way to see us, but you have a small trip to make. The panel hasn't had much of a chance to see you, so would you be good enough to walk up in front of them and walk back again, please?
Stay here, Miss Hagen. That's all you find.
Enough of that, Mr. Sir. All right, Miss Hagen, if you'll come over here now, please, and sit down next to me. At this point, we give the panel one free guess as to what your line may be. And we always begin free guesses with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
I think she raises alligators.
Raises alligators. Mr. Parr.
I think she's a beautiful girl, and I'm going to quit when I'm ahead.
Miss Francis.
I think she's Miss Fort Lauderdale.
Mr. Sir.
I think she works at that new high-life fronton near Fort Lauderdale.
No, I'm afraid not. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Mary Jane Hagen. At the same time, we will tell them what her line is, but the panel will have to dig. Well, Mrs. Hagen, you know how we score here with the flips of the cards and stuff?
Yes, I do.
You got that all in your set? Will you come in just a bit closer to the microphone? Here, thank you. Now, let's see. Mrs. Hagen is salaried. Let's begin the general questioning with Bennett, sir.
Well, Mrs. Hagen, what's your telephone number?
The question is relevant but improper. Proceed.
Do you look like a very healthy outdoors girl, Mrs. Hagen. Do you do your work outdoors?
Sometimes,
Only sometimes. Do you do your work in or around Fort Lauderdale?
yes.
Is there a product connected with what you do?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
You deal in services, then?
Yes.
Could men and women both enjoy your services?
Yes.
And is yours a rather pleasurable occupation?
Yes.
Do you appear before people?
Yes.
Do you do something that entertains them?
Yes.
Is it something that requires a special skill or agility?
Yes.
something other than, well, let's rule out singing. Do you do something besides singing?
Yes.
Do you move around when you do what you do?
Yes.
Do you have anything to do with the water?
Yes.
Do you go into it?
Yes.
We all do it one time or another.
Do you wear something?
We hope so.
Excuse me, that was just a sentence that wasn't getting anywhere.
You keep it.
Do you wear a bathing suit when you
Yes.
go into the water? Do you have anything attached to you or in proximity to you that's necessary to your work besides the bathing suit?
Water wings?
Yes.
Well, I was,
Now, wait, I don't want you to be misled. May I have a conference?
Oh, yes, you do, Todd.
I thought he'd get around to that. She'll mislead you, won't it?
He can.
Fine, I understand now. Would you proceed, Dorothy?
What was the answer?
She does have something?
She
Yes.
has something in addition to a bathing suit when she goes into the water. Do you do most of your work on the surface of the water rather than underneath?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Parr.
Go, boy.
Yes, how about that? Why, do you, is there some fish or reptile involved in this thing that you go into with?
No.
I don't know, but I filled my time, that's all.
Left over there. I'll give it back to you later.
There's no prize if I get it anyhow, is there?
No.
Well, then, what?
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Fred.
Well, then you are an underwater performer of some kind.
Yes.
Is the equipment that you may have a lung of some kind?
A what?
An undersea lung?
She has done. It may be loosely described as an apparatus meant to supplement the normal breathing
breathing, yes, that's what I meant. Do you go under the water to get something?
No.
4 down and 6 to go,
Seems
Mr.
silly to go
Sir.
down there and not come up with something.
Mrs. Hagan. She does that after she comes out. Mrs. Hagan, are you connected with some kind of an aquacade or some kind of a spectacle, a carnival that involves swimmers and divers and underwater pageantry?
Yes.
And do formations in the Esther Williams fashion, sometimes underneath the
Yes.
water and sometimes on the surface? Well, what more do I have?
Actually, Bennett, I think you've got it. We're looking just for the descriptive word, underwater.
Or an aqua girl, or whatever you
Dancer.
call it.
Well, actually, I think it's ballerina.
Mermaid,
That's the word.
ballerina.
Underwater ballerina. That's exactly it.
Well, that's
Now, just a minute, are you doing this with Guy Lombardo's thing here in New York, or are you...
No, I work at the Marlin Beach Hotel in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, you're just a visitor up here in New York. Well, that's real nice. It's real nice to have you come this far, and I think you gave the panel a bit of trouble with a very interesting occupation. And thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.
Nice to have you with us. Good night. All right, panel, a very good beginning. Let's see what you can do with this one. Will you sign in, please, sir? Arthur Valentine. Right, sir? Mr. Valentine, where are you from?
Wales.
Wales?
Great Britain.
Great Britain? That's where my accent came from. I'm up in Scotland, though. Well, now, actually, the panel would like to get a bit closer look at you before they ask you questions. So would you walk down in front of the panel for me and back again?
Welcome to America, Mr. Valentine.
Hello, Mr. Valentine.
All right, Mr. Valentine, over here, if you will, now, and sit down next to me. And it's our practice to let the panel have one free guess, now that they've had a look at you, as to what your line may be, just to see if they can pluck it out of the thin air. We always begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he directs murder mysteries.
Mr. Parr.
I think he breathes on monocles.
Miss Francis.
I think he's Mayor Valentine.
Mr. Sir.
I think he makes Welsh rarebits.
Well, I guess we have to go on. No, nobody has the price. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. Valentine. At the same time, we will tell them what his line is, but the panel's got the date. All right, Mr. Valentine, I don't know whether you're familiar with the scoring system. Every time you can give the panel no answer, I'll flip a card, you see? When I flip 10, you've won the game. All set? Yes. All right, would you come a bit closer in, sir, to the microphone? Thank you. Mr. Valentine is self-employed. Now let's begin the general questioning with our panel guest of the evening, Mr. Parr.
Oh, I hope this wouldn't happen. Sir, do you deal in services?
Yes.
Might I benefit from the services that you, in some way, could I benefit?
Yes.
Well, this means I'm in the wrong direction, but I've got a feeling your services might also do me no good whatsoever from the laughter.
It's possible, yes.
Well, might what you do ever cause your clients some pain, mental or physical?
Did you say mental or physical pain?
I'll say anything, but that's what I said, John.
I think Mr. Valentine would agree. It's possible under some circumstances, yes.
Do you, before you do this, do you give Novocaine?
Mr. Valentine said, what is that? $1 a night to go, Miss Francis.
Mr. Valentine, do you in any way touch the people that you deal with? Now, that laughter makes me think that the word touch is a different kind of a touch than a physical touch like that. Am I correct?
Actually, you asked the question if he touched the people that
And he said
use
yes.
his services, and he said yes, and I think it is fair to say, as Mr. Valentine has set down, that certainly sometimes and perhaps on most occasions he might come in physical contact with the people with whom he does business.
That's the one I don't understand. The Bailey's the one that I don't understand. You I could get, but never did.
Mr. Valentine makes me think that you're not a pickpocket. No. I mean in a professional way. You're not that, are you? No, I asked it in a negative way. Does it cost any money to come in contact with you?
Yes. Sometimes.
Do the people pay you directly?
Well, they could.
They could, but... Say it louder so we can get it here, will you, Mr. Valentine?
I think that we would say that in the basic term, Mr. Valentine is paid by his clients. You'd have a rough time staying in business if
Do
he wasn't.
people ever watch you when you're at work, Mr. Valentine? Would you be considered in any way a performer?
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Sir.
Mr. Valentine, is your profession one that has long had a symbol that makes it easy to recognize the kind of business you're in?
Well, now, we're in such an esoteric area here, and I'm afraid we'll give you a...
3 beautiful little golden balls.
Thank you. I was hoping you would. That'll be no. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mr. Valentine, you have said that Mr. Parr could use your services. Could I use your services?
Yes.
Would I enjoy it?
Sometimes.
Would I have to go to your place of business?
Yes.
And...
Wait a minute. Now, this, I would say you would have to go to his place of business in the basic sense of having to communicate with him, yes.
I don't get him on.
Keep it.
I would have to communicate with him?
Yes.
Could I ask you a little question on the side that wouldn't count? Like, are you implying that I wouldn't have to see him?
If you would like to ask this question not on the side, we'd be glad to have it asked.
Do many people get in contact with you at one time in this sense?
Yes.
It's a reasonable concentration, yeah.
Do you speak as well as touch people or things? Is that an important part of your job?
Yes.
And do the people enjoy hearing you speak?
Oh, sometimes.
There could be times when they wouldn't enjoy it.
Do you have little quips, etc.?
I beg your pardon?
Little quips and things?
Well, I think perhaps Mr. Valentine might be guilty of a little homily once in a while.
Are any of these people who benefit from your services benefiting involuntarily?
No, I wouldn't say it was involuntarily. I would say they would volunteer to benefit in all cases. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Parr. I'm going to give you only 1 more minute.
We've got it.
What you do... Excuse me. Is it my turn?
I have an idea. Ask for a conference.
A conference.
We want a conference.
You may have 10 seconds for a conference.
Maybe he is a bookmaker or one of the people that wave their hands and make bets. It's legalized in London.
Sir, what you do, is it smaller than a Steve Allen?
Valentine, I don't think understands the term of referencing.
Neither does the audience, so well, I don't know. I'm going to pass. That's what I'm going to do.
Jack, do you have anything to do with gambling, which is legal in England? Are you a bookmaker of any kind? You are? Oh, Mr. Valentine, if we've got 1 second, make the signs that you make in the...
Well, Mr. Valentine,
The signs are so marvelous.
it's a wonderful thing to watch, as Arlene says, to see you do it, because it's all so precise. It's like actually
I can't believe that anybody is going to catch on to what your signals are.
And I've got a signal here. We never let anybody come from as far away as Wales and not flip all the cards. I guess kind of low, that sort of thing, you know. And I do want to thank you for being a most interesting guest, and I hope you enjoyed your visit with us on What's My Line. It's nice to have you. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery guest. My friends on the panel would recognize our guest immediately, as you're about to. So we have provided them with blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? As you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we dispense with preliminaries and get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you accustomed to appearing before audiences?
Are you accustomed to appearing before audiences?
Yes. Yes.
Are you in some form of the amusement industry?
Yes.
Is it show business rather than sports?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Parr.
Are you a man or a woman?
You can't ask that.
That cannot be answered yes or no, Mr. Parr. I must ask you to rephrase the question.
Are you masculine or feminine?
That cannot be answered in the negative or the affirmative, and I must ask you to rephrase the question.
Is your natural voice soprano or tenor? I'm very persistent, you know.
That can't be answered either.
Well, are you a woman?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Clear that up.
You're not in the theatrical world. Are you part of the sports world?
Yes.
Are you part of the sport that is taking everybody's time these days, baseball?
Could be.
Are you a member of the National League?
Remember them.
Are you part of the National League? Do you
Yes.
play for the National... would you be my ball team, part of the Giant team?
Yes.
Well, sir, I think I've got you. Did you hit your 31st home run today? Do you play center field? Are you say hey, Willie Mays?
I must say this. I think Will ought to get medals, because we were hoping that we'd get you off into the field of entertainment and have him dancing, singing, you know. And that voice he was using was just wonderful. But doggone it, somebody came to sports.
How about a
Mr. Parr. Oh, Mr. Parr. You can take it off now. That's it. Mr. Mays here has been identified.
Well, that's fine. Can't get them all, you know.
Well, Willie, you certainly tried as hard to make this panel fumble as you do when you get up to bat in that 31st home.
I think they're looking for me. You know that?
Well, I got a hunch that when they find out there's somebody from sports around here in the summertime, they go for that baseball, and then they think, now, who's really up on those big headlines in the papers? And that's where you've been for so many days now. I'm afraid they're just naturally going to go looking for you.
You bet.
You did a wonderful job, though, and may we offer our congratulations because you're on the All-Star team and going to Cleveland for the game, which is on Tuesday.
John, we've read in the paper a lot about how Willie is always yelling, say hey. I'd like to hear just how he says it.
And let the hat fly off.
Do one for us, will you, Willie?
No, it's just a phrase that I used when I first came up, you know. It's something
Don't you use it anymore?
No, because I know everyone's name. Now, the phrase I used was, like I didn't know a person's name, I would start the phrase off with say hey or something like that, you know. Well, I know everybody's name now.
Now you say John or say Joe or say Henry, huh?
No, I know everybody now.
Good deal. Well, you're doing better than I am because I still don't know most of the people that I should know, and I have to sort of fumble around. I think I'll use your technique, and you can use my old one where I used to use that.
I use my own. That's all right.
Well, I know I don't want to in any way jeopardize your chances, but I think you know that all of us are hoping that you get up there and really struggle over the top of that 60 home run record.
It's a long ways up.
It's a long way, Will, but if anybody can do it, you can, and thanks very much for being our guest. It was wonderful to have you and What's My Line.
Boy, you're just the greatest. You do that 400 real soon. You're really doing my
The panel can do now with the last challenger. Would you sign in, please, sir?
Hardly a big moment for me.
Johnny Chick, is that right, sir? Where are you from, Mr. Chick?
Jersey City.
From Jersey City. Well, now, you look at the panel because time is running out. Let them look at you. Then you come on over here with me, will you, and sit down? On the brief look that the panel has had, we will let them have their one free guess, but I would warn them that there isn't too much time, so make your free guesses real fast. Panel, and we'll begin with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
I think he's a toy maker.
A toy maker, Mr. Parr.
I think he works in the dining car of the Bronx Express.
Miss Francis.
I think Mr. Chick is a slick chick who raises turkeys.
Mr. South.
I think he works for the Jersey Central Railroad.
No, I'm afraid not. We'll let our viewers have a further look at Mr. Chick, and at the same time we'll tell them what his line is, but the panel's got to dig. All right, Mr. Chick, you know how we score this here operation?
That's right.
All right, fine. Mr. Chick is salaried panel. You have just 2 minutes to get him, and we'll begin the questioning with Arlene Francis.
Do you work for a profit-making organization, Mr. Chick?
Yes, I do.
Is there any product involved in what you do?
Yes.
Is it a useful product?
Yes.
Is it found in the home?
Yes.
Would I use it?
Yes.
Would I be glad?
Yes.
Is it found in the first floor of a two-story house?
No.
No?
The question is it found on the first floor of a two-story house?
I don't mean on the floor, you know.
Sometimes.
It could be. It could be found any place in a house, could it? Is it movable?
No.
It's movable.
Yes,
Yeah, it's movable.
You just don't want to move it, but it is movable, is that right? Does it have any moving parts?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Sir. And less than a minute to go.
Mr. Chick, would this be part of the furniture of the house?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is it something other than an appliance?
Yes.
Is it something that's consumed?
Yes.
It's consumed, yes.
Is it consumed but not eaten?
Yes.
Is it not drunk either?
Oh, I've never seen it drunk. Oh. No, it is not drunk. That's
You
right.
can go home on the train with Bennett.
Thank you, John.
Is it consumed by normal use?
Yes.
But nobody or nothing takes it internally, is that right?
That's right. And Dorothy, we've run out of time. I think you were beginning to get on the line. We've flipped all the cards by default of time. And Mr. Chick makes mothballs,
I just
which
said it.
are consumed.
I just said mothballs.
And Mr. Chick...
We're giving away 5...
And until next week, with a small word of thanks to Jack Parr for being a very excellent panelist, this is John Daly saying good night, Miss Dorothy.
Good night, Jack. It was lots of fun having you.
Thank you. Good night, Steve Allen, wherever you are. And Arlene, good night to you, dear.
Thank you, and good night to you, Jack. It was very nice to have you with us, and good night, Bennett.